Here are blacklist demonstrations. The reason is what we find is this blacklisting situation still continuing even after 30 plus years. The Consult Association, what's happening nowadays, companies like Langer here behind me are using agencies to do the dirty work for them. It's becoming increasingly harder and harder to get any meaningful work at all in the construction industry. Myself as a spark, can't get work at all. Nobody will directly employ me. The agencies used to do with the big blacklisters used to do. So we must continue this fight.
I've been told to keep up with the times, for our skills are not needed. They streamline the job and whistle on rolling stopwatch. I'm glad they ever are. We're the first ones to start. The first ones to die. The first ones in line for that pie in the sky. And we're always last when the crane is set out. For the worker is working when the fat cat's about.
I've been campaigning against these blacklisting construction companies, both as a trade union organiser and now as a Labour Party representative. And I'm proud to stand here as the leader of the Scottish Labour Party protesting against blacklisting construction companies as well. And I just want to say a couple of things. Livelihoods have been robbed. Lives have been changed. The course of people's lives has been changed irrevocably by these companies and by their actions. People whose marriages and relationships will have broken down because they couldn't find work. People who would therefore have lost contact with their children because of those relationship breakdowns. There are real human tragedies behind these stories. And it's not just simply a case of a few bad apples. It has been an entire rotten system from top to bottom, operated by every single major construction company in this country. Yes. Operated not just for a few years, but operated for decades and for generations, so that fathers and sons have been denied the possibility of working and applying their tools of the trade. So there's been a secret conspiracy of defamation in this industry, which has decapitated the entire lay activist leadership of this entire industry. A willful attempt by a group of employers to deny working people the right to democracy at work and the right to work. So I stand tall in support of this campaign this morning. And I just want to say a couple of final things. Pat Swift, who was the HR director from BARM Nuttall, gave evidence to the Scottish Affairs Select Committee a couple of years ago, in which he confirmed that BARM, amongst others, and I'll quote him, used the Consulting Association for all major projects. All major projects, some in the private sector, but many of those in the public sector. The Scottish Government released guidelines just recently on blacklisting, where they said, and I'll quote them, exclusion from public contracts of companies which engage in blacklisting. So my question to the procurement division of the Scottish Government today is, how many companies have you excluded from public contracts? The truth is, many of these companies have still today got their snouts in the trough of taxpayers' money. And we want to simply place this demand on the Scottish Government and those involved in public procurement. Why don't you use the leverage that you've got? Why don't you use those powers to exclude? when many of these companies have been found guilty of being involved in a blacklisting conspiracy. Because you can't just condemn this practice, you've got to do something about this practice. And the powers exist for changes to be made and for pressure to be put on. Because I tell you as well, it's not just the act of blacklisting, it's the shame of the cover-up of the act of blacklisting that we need to expose today. And so finally, I want to say that this is about workers' rights, but it's also about human rights, and in my view, democracy itself is on trial. And that's why I am pleased to support this campaign organised by Unite, and pleased to support their demand for a full inquiry into the conspiracy waged by every major construction company in this country over the course of the last 4 decades. There needs to be a root and branch review led through a public inquiry to expose these injustices, to get justice for these working people, and to make sure that never again do we see injustice, blacklisting, the failure for people to get work when they should be working. That should never be repeated again. Let's have a public inquiry, let's clean up this mess, let's get these companies to own up, and finally, let's get these companies to pay up. Thanks very much for your support.
No justice, no peace! 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 No
My name's Jake McLeod, and today we've been attending a blacklisted demonstration in Edinburgh. A demonstration that we hope will come to fruition by the present Parliament coming out in force and barring companies which were blacklisters from having any more public contracts and reaping the tax money from the people of Scotland and the rest of Britain to further their working practices that have created an imbalance for many people who have been on the blacklist, who have went through hell over the years, and these people are gone away scot-free. Hopefully today at Parliament and the demonstrations that are taking place up and down the country will hopefully put an end to the blacklisting, but it has to be done in such a way that the people responsible are brought to task. Not only companies, but certain of the trade union officials who were paramount in creating this difficulty. Thank you very much.
Have bled for your countries and counted your dead. In the factories and mills, in the shipyards and mines, we've often been told to keep up with the times, for our skills are not needed. They've streamlined the job and with slide rule and stopwatch, our pride they have wrong. We're the first ones to stop, we're the first ones to die, the first ones in line for that pie in the sky, and we're always the last when the cream is shit out, for the worker is working when the fat cat's about. And when the sky darkens and the rust